All right, so now we have previewed our survey and we're ready to continue with the task for setting up your study. The next task is called sample size calculation. This is where we will get a number for how many surveys you will want to complete or you'll need to complete for your study. So we click here and we go to this page. Again, the paragraph is there describing or explaining what is going on in this page. Basically, what's going on in this page is the client, will be selecting how many respondents you want to evaluate each of your SOIs in a study. That's in red font because that's a number that you can change. We set the default at 200 because that's what we recommend for the number of respondents that will be evaluating each of your SOIs. We recommend that for a couple of reasons. First of all, even though we really only need 75 to 100 to start to get an implicit and explicit association read, we double that because many clients want to create subsegments, demographic subsegments, or some subsegment based on a classification question. And so that gives you a little cushion in terms of sample size. So that if you do subsegment them, you can get a sufficient number of evaluations per SOI to get good reads. So you will set that. Again, we set it at 200. And the number of SOIs in your study will be automatically generated when you enter in your SOI images. So here we have 3 in our study, and this is the number of validation surveys that are held back for each survey. So we add that. We also add a little bit to take care of any attrition that happens. A certain number of people will screen out based on knowing Chinese language, and a certain number of people will screen out based upon the straight lining or responses that we know we can detect at the back end. They're not really paying attention to the tasks. So I think that's a 15% attrition rate at which we add in to make sure you have enough surveys to cover this number here. If I only wanted 100, you'll see that that will change and we'll need 215 surveys to complete it. I'm going to change it back to 200 because that's what I like to have in our studies. And you notice that number changes. This number you want to make sure you have on hand because you'll tell your sample provider how many you want to complete. If we are completing this for you, we'll take it to the sample provider that we're providing for you. If you're getting your own sample, then you need to tell this to your sample provider. But that's what this page is all about. When you're finished with that, you'll hit submit, and we'll move on to the next step.